keeping in mind the huge demand placed on the executive minister overseeing 3 regional councils, do you plan to spend some time on the ground getting to know the various ministries and their needs, particularly in light of the upcoming discussions about the strategic plan?
Yes, I absolutely do. I'm very, actually, it has been, in the last couple of months, what I've been doing is appearing at various congregations as a bit of a mystery shopper. So I pop in without being announced, and I get to sort of savor the experience of being in different communities of faith. And I've made a point of seeing ones that I don't know that well. And I've been into congregation in Oshawa. I've been in various places around Ottawa. I'm going to be in St. Lambert and other places in Quebec in the next little while. So I'm making a point of getting to know communities of faith individually. Now there are 500 communities of faith under the 3 regional councils, so it's not likely I'm not likely to be able to see every single one of them. But there is no question that part of the desire for me is to connect locally and to get to know folks. And obviously our pastoral relations ministers and our folks are also connected to try to know what's going on. And the strategic planning process will, in every case, what is foreseen as a process by which we're going to hold town halls or listening sessions, or it's slightly different in each region, but we're going to make a point of being attentive and listening, because that is such a key part of what we need to do. The regional council of the church isn't a body that is there for its own purposes. It is there to serve and to accompany communities of faith. That is its essential purpose. And so, if we're not connecting with those, then there's a huge division that needs to be, and a huge gap that needs to be filled. And so yes, I'm excited about getting to know the congregations and the communities of faith very closely.
Great, thanks. Given the high number of pastoral charges without paid accountable ministry, how does the Regional Council plan to provide good pastoral oversight and good two-way communication with these pastoral charges?
Yeah, this is a challenge across the country, and what I'm hearing from my colleagues, certainly in other parts of the country, is that the system for pastoral supervision is one that has to be carefully planned out and properly thought through. And I think that there are benefits to the system that we have right now, which is that there are ministry personnel that are currently not full-time ministers and who can play the role of doing a pastoral supervision in a way that allows them, first of all, a little bit of extra coverage for their salary, but also some actual experience that comes from their congregations that they can also share with others, which helps to build a bit of a network and a web in a way that I think is quite helpful and is good in the system that we have. But there is no doubt that having pastoral relations or pastoral supervisors is a challenge, and recruiting them can be difficult. There are, however, opportunities there for lay people to be playing some of those roles as well. And I think we may not have tapped into that possibility quite as much as we have, and preparing those folks to be a link to the broader church might be one of the key things that we need to be thinking about going forward. But I do think that overall, the system that's in place is actually a very good one for where we are at this moment. The question is really how we just ensure that there are as many supervisors as possible so that link isn't lost.
And just a follow up to that, is there a strategic plan to do this?
Yeah, so I was talking about the different elements of a strategic plan, and one of them is around common good. Yeah. And when I say common good, it's not about societal common good, although obviously we all want that too. It's about the efficiency and the effectiveness within the church to be able to do things like that, to provide shared services, to be able to make sure that we're accompanying each other properly, and that common good piece really does touch on that. And so over the next year, we'll be coming up with even, with some hopefully innovative ways that are coming out from people's own experience, and taking those and applying them to how we go forward.
Thank you.
And the next question is, how do you envision our journey forward into joy for our 3 regional councils as we approach our 100th year?
Yeah. So I am generally optimistic and generally enthusiastic. So I don't think it's difficult for me to come by joy in the work that I do, because I really am somebody who sees potential and opportunity wherever I go. And I understand that not everyone's built that way. so I try not to be overly aggressive in that. But as we go up into our 100th anniversary, which is, just a couple of years away at this point, part of that joy, in my sense, comes from, you're going to think this is ridiculous, but comes from strategic planning. and the joy from that, let me just explain why I think that. Because what happens with a strategic plan where there are measurable objectives, where we set goals for ourselves, is that at the end of the year, we can look back and go, look at what we accomplished, right? Look at what we were able to do. And that creates enthusiasm and creates energy. And if we made a mistake in terms of setting an objective that was a little too ambitious, well, we learn from that, right? And we go, okay, what did we learn by the things that we didn't succeed at? And I think that process is one that helps create a sentiment of success. It helps us see our growth and our progress. And because we have been really attentive to the decline and loss in the church, we measure that, right? We actually see that. At the same time, we need to be then, how do we change that direction? How do we move in a new place? And how do we know that we've gotten there? And that happens through planning, right? It's as simple as that. And we can't just sit there and do what we've always done and expect different results. I think people have often said that, and it is absolutely true. So what is it that we can do to turn the tide? And what are the things that we can do as a regional council that can't be done at the congregational level to help set some new directions for folks? In some cases, that's going to be renewing existing communities of faith and helping them to build their strength. In other cases, it's going to be creating new communities of faith. And we talk about the anniversary coming up, and it's interesting because, the church has set a goal for itself of creating 100 new communities of faith by the end of its anniversary year. That's an ambition. That brings me joy. That's the kind of thing I'd love to see. And there's already ideas percolating in our 3 regions for those new kinds of ministries, and I love that. I think that's really great.
Perfect. Thank you.